Lamar City Council special town hall meeting to order for Monday, May 19th. We will start with roll call, please.
Goodchild.
You're here.
Wick.
Yes.
Sturgeon.
Here.
Bruns.
Here.
Pick.
Here.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. First item is general discussion, citizens. And just so you know, I think it was published in the paper that the only topic tonight was going to be the fire station, and that isn't true. But so we are going to present on the fire station. But if anybody has anything else they would like to address the council on, we have a microphone over here, so you can be heard at least. We are recording it for YouTube, so keep it clean, please. We would ask that you would line up, or at least be ready to go with your next comments so that we don't have a big long pause in between people's comments. But first, we'll start with anything other than the fire station and the proposed fire station situation. Does anybody have anything they would like to address the council on? Please state your name and address if you could for the record.
Hi, my name is Dan Lansness. I live at 1290 Abbott Drive. I work part-time at Wi-Fi. Some of you guys may know me. My issue is the mural behind the Olson Event Center. It's been sitting there unfinished for a lot of years. I see it every day I go to work, and I'd like to see it either finished or somebody that was willing to complete something there. So it's a beautiful mural that is not done yet. So that was my comment for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. I do know we are in talks with the artist and encouragement to try to get him to finish the thing, and have been for quite some time. He's been in some plays here locally, and so he is around. He has not been paid, so we don't have that motivation either. Evidently, he doesn't need the money either, but we are indeed addressing it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Jeremy Morris, 401 First Avenue, Southwest. I have an issue with 4th Street yet. You guys said there were studies being done with the speeding. It's still nonstop. I live there, I know the traffic. It is just 100% drag strip. I have a 1-year-old that's going to be walking. I don't need him to get hit. I've been up and down those streets, maybe put speed limit sign on it. There's not one speed limit sign on that street. That's my only issue I have.
All right, thank you. And I would add that we did ask Officer Kramer, I believe it was, that did the study. And I don't know, Officer Bluger, if you can make some notes there, and take that back to the chief. But our chief wasn't able to be here tonight, and neither was our assistant. And so Dan drew the short straw and taking that back. Anyway, Officer Kramer did look into that, but maybe he caught 2 days where people were obeying the speed limit. Who knows? So we'll continue to study that. So thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Tom Wally, 247 2nd Avenue Southeast, Mars. Several months ago, I brought up a few things for the city council to work on. So far, I haven't seen anything done on it, especially on the speeding on Plymouth Street. It's terrible. Somebody's going to get killed there, and someone's going to be responsible for it. You know, the state come in and redone their street there, just made a mess out of that. So, I just want to see something get done. I got a lot of old customers coming in there too that they have a hard time pulling out of there, pulling in there, and I don't want to see anybody hurt. Thank you.
Primarily the speed coming past your restaurant
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and in that area?
Oh, all the way from highway, or, even at the, by the hospital, fly around in two corners, and they got it pretty well all the way to down the alley.
Yeah.
Just bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, the DOT didn't ask our council on
Yeah,
meeting
I know.
what they did, and generally medians, speed up traffic. And so,
Well, they spent
median
the
is
train
in
up
there,
there.
they did- yeah,
And that's another hazard, because there's none of you guys don't have
yeah.
any control of that. The highway, I think you could get some liaisons going between you guys and the state, or whatever you guys do. Put up a light, they had one up for about a half a day, and they said it broke down. And I never seen it since, when the speed limit sign, be like electronic was flashing, yeah, nothing there. No.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you now.
Dan, you got that? All right.
Oh, he's my nephew.
You might need a bigger notepad. Anyone else here to address the council? If you don't get up quick, we're gonna switch to the fire chief. He's got a lot to say. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to our fire chief, Dave Shipper, who's going to explain a little bit about what's going on here, what's being proposed, and you all are going to get an opportunity to vote on it this November. Most likely it hasn't officially been approved to be put on the ballot, but that's kind of our intent. So after I close the meeting, I am hoping some of the council members that you see up here are able to stick around a little bit, do the tours with you, and or look upon. If there's anything that you don't feel comfortable addressing everybody at the microphone, grab one of us and bend our ear. We're happy to help, and we're excited to have some input. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Shipper.
Up first, Mayor?
No, we'll keep the meeting going until it's time for tours.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks again, everybody, for coming tonight. Basically, what we're looking at doing is building a firehouse. We have 11 full-time people now that live here. We have about 30-some paid-on-call people that come in for calls, and we've outgrown our space. So as you can see, you're in our meeting room right now, because our current meeting room does not hold the staff we have. So the meeting room that maybe you came in through up front, we use those when we do CPR classes. We use that for some of our own smaller class stuff or our high school EMT program and things like that. But when we get all 40 of us together, our meeting room don't work. It's not big enough. So the new meeting room on the plans that we have drawn over here, and FEH is here, Brittany's in the back, there's our architect, she's a local gal who works down for FEH in Sioux City. So they're here to answer some questions as well. Kind of laying out a new station. We bought the ground a couple years ago. It's across from Mauer Funeral Home, next to building blocks on the corner. So there's a lot actually between building blocks and where the fire station will sit. The nice thing about that spot is there's no power lines. It's a big wide street to pull out onto. It's a main vein through our community to get us to Central Avenue, out to the bypass, K49, out towards Kellen's Ponderosa and stuff like that, to 4th Avenue. So it's on a main route. This station will put us within 2.5 miles of everything in the south end of the city. Everything that's been annexed all over C38 for new industrial growth. This station you're in now will stay here, and we'll utilize it as well because it's within 2.5 miles of our homes on the golf course, our wastewater treatment plant. So for our insurance rating for our community, which we're a 1 out of 10, okay? 1's the best, 10's the worst, we're a 2. In the top 4% in the United States for fire insurance. Meaning your business is paid less here than in Spencer, Orange City, Sioux Center, Storm Lake, because of our communications center, our water, and our fire protection, okay? You have to have stations in the right places. Now we look at 2.5 miles. I used to say 1.5 miles. You know where that rule came from? Because that's how far a horse could run before it got tired pulling the old steam engine. And they still have that in the criteria. Now, these horses run a little farther and faster than regular horses do, but that's how they set that up years ago. And that's still being used today. But we look at 2.5 miles, not a mile and a half. So for the growth for the next 20 years, south, we have that covered. And this station covers everything to the north and east, all the way out to Fetters and the bypass out that way. So we're sitting in good shape. We bought the ground from Mr. Schuster. He was good enough to sell us the space. We think it'll work good. We've got some drive-through bays planned, so we're not backing in. We'll have an apron out front. It makes it so tough for the guys to pull the trucks out front here and not get hit by a car or something when we're trying to run equipment, test the vehicles and things like that. Every day they have different job assignments, whether it's running a certain vehicle, cleaning restrooms, mowing the lawn up at the other building. Now, the other building will be up to these folks here on what they want to do with it. We're so landlocked up there by Rex Winkle Funeral Home, there's really not a lot we can do with that building. And it's full. All the bays are full, the truck bays and everything. So, as I told people earlier tonight, we had all 3 ambulances out at one time, like 4 times in the last week and a half, even at 4 in the morning. So we have 3 ambulances. If you notice, there's one not here. It's on its way to Sioux Falls right now with a patient from Floyd Valley. So we're running about 130 to 150 just ambulance calls a month. We're running about 170, 180 calls a month total with fire and everything else that we do. So it's busy. When I started as fire chief in 2010, we had 179 calls. Last year we almost hit 2,000 calls in 1 year. We did 415 transfers last year in 365 days. That's just ambulance transfers, 415 of them. So a lot of times, that's where the paid staff is helped out during the day because, you know, if you're an employer or you're working somewhere, you can't leave work 3 times a day to go to calls. So we've had to add people. As the town grows, that's going to just get more and more demanding on us. So this new station, we will call the firehouse, and it will have actual, how do we say that, Brittany? Code met bedrooms.
Yep.
And exiting and things where we can work on equipment and do things in the future. So that building should be good for the next 30 to 50 years once it's built, if it passes the public vote. Right now, we're looking at an amount of about 12 to 15 million, okay? Now, that depends on square footage and how it comes in when it's bid and things like that. But very minimal when you think of the lifespan of it and what it's doing for our community and what it houses. You know, this was an REC building that the city got for about $300,000-400,000. And REC went out and built a new building out across from Schuster's on the tax roll, which it was a win both ways for the city. Well, then we had to convert it into a firehouse when people started living here. So there's a lot of donated money put into making bedrooms, even though they don't really need for a bedroom, they're a closet. If you take the tour, you'll see that. We've had to make a kitchen. We had a living room one time that's now a bedroom, and make office spaces for the office, you know, staff for our paperwork, our reports, and all the things we do. So this building will have all of that stuff in it. The meeting room, I think, was what, how many people, Brittany, like 80, 85,
Yeah.
something like that, compared to sitting out here in the garage right now. The heating system will be better. Right now, we have 2 Cobra heat tubes is all that heats it. We keep it about 60 degrees out here in the winter, which makes it tough. You open the garage door, you lose a lot of the heat anyway, but so then when we try to have a meeting out here, the guys are like, deeper, deep. So we've used Total Motors, we've used the Uptown Center, we've used the KC Hall, we've used the Legion. We've had a lot of people let us use their meeting rooms for free. And we can't say thank you enough, but when we're doing classes, we go do the meeting, but then all our equipment's here, so then you gotta try to come back and do things like that with the equipment. It's just so much easier if everything was in one nest. So that's kind of the future. If we need another ambulance right now, we have nowhere to park it. You know, as we replace fire trucks, we try to, you know, one leaves, one comes, that kind of thing. But we gotta maintain what we need for equipment for pumping water and things. We're just out of space. Normally there's vehicles in here where you're sitting tonight. That's not the case tonight because one's gone and we've got the other cars outside in different places. But we've got some stuff in the PD building. We've got some stuff at the fairgrounds, so we've got equipment spread around, and it'd be nice to just have a couple locations where when we're checking things, you know, you got 2 spots. But with that other station up there, that'd be up to the city what they decide to do with it. If they decide to sell it or use it for another city department or what they want to do with it. It's a nice building. It worked as a volunteer type response station for years. But there's just, it's landlocked up there with parking and adding on, and trying to make bedrooms and things, we just don't have the ground space. So this building will stay. Hopefully we build a new building and then the other one, the city has to decide what they want to do with it. That's up to them. That's up to them. It's a nice building. This building is set up as a secondary PSAP type center. We can page fire departments from here. We can set off the tornado sirens. That new station will have all that capability as well. But that will become the house. And it will be set up for a house. You know, it has a nice kitchen, bedrooms, living room, things like that. You know, we have people here 365 days a year, so a lot of times their families will come down and have Christmas here or Thanksgiving. And that's a good thing. You got to keep the families involved. But if you walk through the tour and see how big our kitchen is, you're not going to put more than 5 or 6 people in there because we've had to make a kitchen. But we've made it work. That's what we do. We're in the adapt and overcome business. That's what we do. I said this morning at our chamber coffee, we show up, we have to get control of chaos. Every call we go to, no matter what's going on. And I always told them this morning, I said, chaos does not mean chief has arrived on scene. That's not chaos. Okay, so don't get that wrong. That's something different. But, you know, we're here to take care of everybody. We take care of people. That's our statement, our motto. We don't care your color, your race, your creed. We take care of everybody. We don't pick and choose. We don't have a choice. And this is one of the only public services in the city that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, we don't have a choice. We can't close when the weather's bad. You know, we had a bunch of us at 4 o'clock this morning out because of the winds and the storms, making sure that, you know, if we needed to set off the tornado sirens or somebody had a tree limb on a power line, you know, we do all that kind of stuff. So if we were just the fire department, it'd be a lot easier. But when you do fire and rescue and vehicle extrication and water rescue and high angle rescue, and, I mean, just some of the crazy stuff we get called to. You have to have the right equipment, you have to have the right people. We've got great people. They make me look good. I'm not the smartest guy, but if you surround yourself with smart people, it makes you look good. And they do a great job. So, we're willing to entertain any questions. Brittany's here, she can talk about the building. I can answer anything if you have questions. If you want to wait, as the mayor said, talk to each councilman individually, talk to us. I've got a group back here that will give tours and just walk you through the building. You can see the bedrooms that are supposed to be closets that don't have windows and things like that they're supposed to have. But we've made it work for the last couple of years, and we're getting by, but getting by is not the answer when it comes to public safety. We have to have stuff that works, and it's got to be ready to go all the time. It can't be like a dump truck that will haul the dirt tomorrow. All right, who's doing that?
Not me.
You gotta go. Take 83. Give me just a second. Give me just 1 second. No, I'm not going. So that is ambulance number 2 out here. We have 1 left. And now, with everything that we have going on, our territory is growing. So we have 220 miles of rural, and we got about 6 towns we cover 24 hours a day. These littler towns are struggling because during the day they don't have anybody to work in them. So we have automatically run to Owens and Merrill. We've been to Remsen, Hinton, and everywhere else, just because of staffing issues and people struggling. So that puts a burden on us as well. But just our own territory is plenty, you know, with our rural and our city calls. We run, like I said, about 170 calls a month, depending on the month, depending on the weather and everything else, but it's busy. Yes, ma'am?
is the city for the some of the defense building over by Fairway, part of this, that's different.
No, so that's county, that's EMA, that's emergency management. So she's our logistics person that takes care of the storm stuff. She does grants for different things for that, but that's totally separate. That's a county entity. Okay? So that's through the county EMA. And then, of course, the sheriff's office is different, and they have the dive team and things like that. That's one thing that, we have water rescue stuff, but we don't do the diver stuff. They have their own group for that. But we assist them on all those calls. We have the ropes and the ladders and the outreach for the trucks and things like that. Questions? Yes.
I was just gonna ask, can you describe, how different, how the number of calls has changed for your department from the time when your dad was.
Well, like I said, in
to
2010,
now, and why that is? I mean, you guys respond to so many more things than.
people call for everything anymore. I mean, you know, back in our day, you wouldn't call an ambulance for certain things, they called it. Everybody just calls for help. So times have changed. We're a growing community, we have a lot more elderly now too as well. So, and when we lose different services, like Siouxland paramedics pulled it up, they used to do a lot of ambulance transfers out of here. So then we had to pick those up, you know, to get our people to Sioux Falls or Sioux City, Omaha. Greg Sheriff from Cherokee, they've helped us and come over taking some for us when we're busy. We went over, taken a few from them, and he can attest to it if anyone asks it. It's totally changed on the way people call for help for everything. Once you add people and you add apartment buildings, and I said I can't take cooking licenses away from people, but people burn food all the time and set fire alarms off. Well, we have to go because we don't know if it's really the stove on fire, it's just they didn't cook right. And then we gotta reset the fire alarms and get everybody back inside, and things like that. So a lot of that stuff has changed over the years for call response. Like I said, in 2010, we had 179 calls, and now we're at 2,000. And the ambulance went from 500 to 900, or 900 to 1,000